Hi everyone, welcome to Good for the Game TV, where we aim to turn your sporting knowledge into profits. From me, Brent Graham, thank you for joining me for this Vuelta Stage 19 preview. The race is perfectly set up at the moment, with Yates leading Valverde by just a few seconds. And there's plenty of other guys who could come from behind to win as well. I must say, from a punting perspective, I cannot recall a Grand Tour where they had so much success. Michael Woods delivering at 66-1 on Stage 17. And it's just been one of those tours where everything's come together. There's a fine line between success and failure in cycling, and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it. I don't bet particularly big on cycling, but when you're backing guys to win at 66-1, a couple of nice prize winners, and well, let's just say things add up. I'm feeling pretty good about things at the moment. But let's get into tomorrow's stage. It's stage 19. It's this third last stage, but the second to last stage where we could really see a difference in the individual classifications. Let's pop straight over to the route, and well, in fact, let's first have a look at the current standings. We got Yates; he's leading Valverde by 25 seconds. So Yates showed a little bit of signs of weakness at the end of stage 17, where Valverde managed to pull a few seconds back on him, and that would certainly have given the Movistar veteran plenty of hope. The good news for Valverde is that Quintana's now fallen back. He's over 2 minutes behind Yates now, so there's no doubt about it. Quintana will be looking to work for Valverde, and he could well be a big asset for Valverde tomorrow in the mountains. I must say first up that Saturday is probably going to be the more decisive stage. You'll see when we look at the profile that this stage ends on a long climb, but it's certainly not the steepest, although it has steep sections, and it may not be as decisive as many of us are perhaps hoping. Although at this stage of a Grand Tour, you must know there are very, very tired legs out there. Well, he's been the absolute find of the tour, hasn't he? He's been incredible for Quick-Step. He seems to be getting stronger and stronger. Just 1 minute 22 behind. Is it too much to ask of him to come and win the race? Probably is, but you just never know. The way this guy's been riding, I wouldn't put anything past him just yet. He definitely comes from the Alberto Contador school of attacking riding, and that's going to be great for cycling in years to come. Lopez, well, he was a bit disappointing, wasn't he, in stage 17? His team certainly worked hard to set him up, but he failed to deliver at the key times, and it remains to be seen if he's got the legs to finish a stage like this off, particularly given that it's probably not steep enough for him. Stefan Kruijswijk, well, he was disappointing in stage 17. He probably paid the price for an excellent time trial performance. He's still under 2 minutes behind, but certainly on a stage like this, you wouldn't expect him to make much inroads. He'd probably want a steeper climb. Nairo Quintana, well, as mentioned, he'll probably now be working for Alejandro Valverde. Let's have a look at the profile then. We've got 154.4 kilometers, typically lumpy, certainly not flat to the base of the final climb, but really the composition of the breakaway is going to be interesting because it is a slightly flatter start than what we had on stage 17, for example. It may be tougher for the climbers, the guys like Woods and that, to get into the break and effectively get into that break of the day. And it's also going to be interesting to see what Movistar and Espana, how they play it. Does Valverde either stage out as a potential bonus seconds to be gained over Yates, in which case Movi will either try and keep the break on quite a tight rein, or they may let a weaker break go. But I think at this stage of a Grand Tour, it's going to be hard to control the composition of the break. And I expect a strong break to go. And definitely do give a break a very strong chance of winning. I've placed it at around 40% here. It is just difficult to say. Will Movistar gamble on Valverde winning the stage and getting the bonus seconds? Given the final climb isn't necessarily that tough, it might be a case of them dragging Yates all the way to the line as well. So going to be an interesting one, and certainly a stage I would say I'm approaching with some caution from a betting perspective. I'm certainly not looking to give too much in the way of profits back here. Let's just have a look at that last mountain pass if we can. You can see here 17 kilometers, an average of 6.6%. There are some steep sections, particularly towards the bottom. Certainly flattens out here. You'll see 4.5, 3.8, 3.7%. So if you're going to do damage, you probably have to try to early. We may get a situation here where a Quintana goes on the attack with a view of Valverde bridging across to him. But whether that's effective or not is going to depend, obviously, on the legs of the Movistar riders. But it's also going to depend on Yates and potentially the support he has around him from the likes of his brother and Jack Haig. It does get a little bit steeper towards the end, so we could well see some differences over the final 2 kilometers. But I think it's probably going to take a bad day for us to see real big time differences here. We may just get a few seconds between the guys, and yeah, I guess we'd look to Saturday, which is a much more brutal stage where we could find the big differences in time coming. Let's just have a look at the outright betting then at the moment. That's in fact the stage betting. I think I've got the outright betting here on Sunbet. We've got Yates at 4-6. They also offer top 3 betting is at 11-20. Not sure I'll be rushing into the top 3 betting on Yates because he is the sort of rider who has exploded before in a Grand Tour. In the Giro, he was looking every inch a winner until he showed signs of weakness and cracked. And if you crack in cycling, you're gone. I mean, he could definitely justify the 4-6 favoritism to win. But on the other hand, if he cracks, well, he probably won't finish in the top 10. So I did see a bet, and I'll just skim to it quickly, which might be of interest to you if you do think the likes of Yates might fade. And that is Yates not to finish in the top 3 at 5-2. I actually took a similar bet in the Giro at around about the same stage of the event, and it obviously turned out pretty well for me. But I don't think tomorrow's stage really looks tough enough for Yates to absolutely crack. Let's go back to that outright betting. You've got Valverde, who those of you who watched my preview the other night will know I'm on at 7-1. So quite happy with where he's sitting at the moment. I'd love to see the 38-year-old take the win. Mas, he's 8-1. Lopez 10-1, Quintana 17-1, Kruijswijk, well, he shortened from 20-1 to 12-1, and he's back out to 33-1 after a disappointing stage in stage 17. You can get 250-1 and better the balance. Let's have a look at the outright betting. We've got Lopez, the favorite here at 7-2. I think just to pop onto Sunbet's. This is a nice example of differences between the bookmakers. Sunbet have actually got Valverde the favorite at 9-2. You can get 5-1 about Lopez. If we look at World Sports Betting, they 5-1 about Valverde, and you can only there get 7-2 about Lopez. So if you were going to back Lopez, you back him at Sunbet, and Valverde you would back at WSB. You've got Yates then at 9-1, Mas 10-1, and skimming down, you've got Michael, who would obviously have to win from the break. Good chance he'll make the break. De La Cruz, who showed some legs the other day. I think he was third on the stage behind Michael Woods. Just a quick shout out for Woods, who I saw down here at about 40-1. He delivered for me at 66-1. What an emotional speech he said afterwards about the loss of his child before birth. And it was really incredible. And what a climb. You almost came to a standstill at times on that stage 17, but a great ride from Woods. I wouldn't discount him in the stage. He'll certainly try to get into the break, and he certainly does seem to have strong legs. Yeah, it's one of those stages where it's not easy to pick a winner. I wouldn't have the confidence of backing Valverde or Lopez simply on the basis that I do give the break a strong chance. So for me, I'm going to take a similar view in this one to what I did with the stage when Pino won. When he jumped away from it at the end. I'm going to look for. I am expecting the break to have a chance, but I think it's more likely that we get a stage contested by the general classification guys. And because of the flat section prior to the last 2 kilometers, I think things could all come back together or be close together as far as the favorites are concerned. And if that's the case, things could get tactical. And if things could get tactical, that's when you've got to start favoring the guys who are a little bit down the order. So in other words, the Urans of the world, the Izaguirres of the world, who can jump away and will not worry Yates and for that matter Movistar. So they can, like Pino did the other day, get a little bit of a break. So I'm taking a couple of speculative plays tomorrow in the outright markets. I've got Rigoberto Uran. He hasn't been at his best in this tour, but he's certainly not far off being one of the top climbers. I think he'll be suited by the gradual slopes of the final climb. And if he can be thereabouts with 3 or 4 kilometers to go, I could see him jumping the field and pulling away and winning it. He's also the type of rider, if it does come down to a sprint finish, who might have a chance, although it is difficult to see him getting the better of Valverde and Yates in a sprint finish. And then I was quite surprised. I had to go quite far down for my next fancy, and it's Jan Izaguirre, who, on the same basis as Uran, I think may get a little bit of leeway if he does jump. And I don't expect this 150-1 to last to the morning. I'm going to take it now because, I would just be very surprised if that was still there in the morning. I see him as more of a 66 to 1, perhaps even a 50 to 1 shot. So those are my two fancies. I'll sum up the bets now. Just to have a look, there are some match bets available as well. At this point, I'm just going to put up, where is he, Pele Bilbao to beat Jack Haig at 5 to 6. Bilbao will possibly be in the break, but more than likely will be riding for Lopez. And Haig, of course, will be assigned to Yates. And with Yates' brother now right up in the action as well, Haig will probably be working hard earlier in the stage. And I expect that he will fade, and that Mitchelton, once he does fade, will get him to sit up, as I want him to work hard on Saturday. And I think Bilbao could be quite a good bet here at 5 to 6. I was looking at throwing in a double and just to have a skim there. I did fancy Massa, but over Lopez at even money. But I've decided to leave that and just have a straight bet on Bilbao at 5 to 6. Let's then have a quick look at my summary, and we'll go to the slideshow here. And the break will likely take some time to get away. I think this will be a very competitive start. I think the composition of the break is going to be crucial. And it'll be interesting to see if the good climbers can get into the break. I think we'll see situations where the likes of Bora, Hansgrohe work very hard to get Mike into the break, and they'll have someone like Postenberger actually try and pull him across to the break if necessary. The tactics of Movistar and Astana are going to be key. If they iron the stage out as possible bonus seconds, then you can pretty much guarantee that they'll bring the break back and probably not let it get too far ahead. But if they're taking a view of just having a battle on the final climb, but really iron out the stage in tomorrow, then you might well find the break getting well ahead and landing. And as I said, I give the break about a 40% chance of survival tomorrow. So for that reason, I am going for general classification, guys, but I'm taking big, what I consider value prices, and I'm taking them on guys that I think can maybe jump away late and snatch the stage if the other big favourites cancel each other out. So I've got Iran 50 to 1, Jon Izagirre at 150 to 1, and then my double, Bilbao over Haig at 5 to 6. That pretty much brings us then to the end of the preview. After this, we've got one big mountain stage to come on Saturday. We'll definitely do a preview for that one. I may even be joined by the likes of Chris and Couch Critic for that one, because that should be a really, really entertaining stage. And then of course we go on to Madrid for the sprint. I was very surprised today. I haven't watched the stage at all, but I was very surprised that the sprinters were actually robbed or beaten today by the breakaway, and obviously mistimed the chase. So yeah, the sprinters, you've got to fancy them to land the Madrid stage. So it's all on Friday and Saturday, and I think we're in for some great racing. Tomorrow's stage should be good. Let's hope for Iran or Izagirre to deliver the goods. And we'll see you late on Friday night for a preview of Stage 20, a very short stage, under 100 kilometers, but it's going to be absolutely brutal. Enjoy the cycling. You can subscribe to our videos below this, and make sure you catch the rest of our betting shows, many of which were recorded tonight.